Serving as the antithesis to Metarot 3's Dorcus, it is KWG-05F Blackstag, with a kit of Stat Cleanse, Sword, Hammer, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Through Fight, which has a chance for melee attacks to ignore defense and bypass shields when attacking opponents. Now, when it comes to overall balance, Blackstag definitely has that base well covered, especially when it comes to female bots, where a lot of them are based specifically on, say, healing or ailments or support. Blackstag takes that and throws it out the window with a very primarily offense-based kit, but still kind of honoring her roots as a female type with a support skill. Instead of your traditional support, however, Blackstag is supporting a healing skill, which is Stat Cleanse, which is very openly welcomed on any particular build or team. As simply put, what it does is remove any negative ailments that are applied to herself or allies, as well as render them immune to negative ailments a certain number of times relative to the rank of the part. Right Arm of Sword is a very conventional and well-balanced right arm and melee skill that you really can't go wrong using pretty much anywhere for your balanced overall melee. And Left Arm of Hammer is more your AoE damage for peppering opponents. As simply put, it will spread the total damage intended across all active parts equally, which means when it comes to breaking parts, it is definitely not the skill to use, but it is definitely good for peppering opponents 1 or 2 times and then using, say, Sword to finish off the attack and really benefit from breaking multiple parts at once. The Through Fight ability is honestly really nice on Blackstag as well, as it does grant her the chance every once in a while to bypass any shields that are in play or deal a little extra damage with ignored defense. Now, as if this wasn't enough, Blackstag is also capable of a meta change form, where she more or less keeps her entire kit with the exception of her head skill and her leg ability and type, with a kit of Trap Clear, Sword, Hammer, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Straight, which passively buffs the success of equipped melee parts. Now with this is essentially a higher end, a more damage dealing form of what Blackstag already is capable of, so there really is no major benefit or detriment to switching between the two. However, when it comes to Stat Cleanse or Trap Clear is where it really makes the difference. Trap Clear, instead of being unlike Stat Cleanse, will remove any active negative traps placed on the field and render them completely offloaded and undone to prevent them from attacking opponents. Sword and Hammer are essentially just stronger versions of what she already had at the cost of using 10 CG each in order to make use of them. But the Flight Legs do grant Blackstag a much higher mobility advantage when it comes to high-end speed on most terrains, and the leg ability of Straight means that she will have a much easier time landing her hits, as well as landing possibly critical hits because of the buff to her success. As a pure set score, I honestly do have to rate Blackstag a very solid 8 out of 10 across the board. Very solid armor, very good stats, and really no major drawback or weakness to using her more or less anywhere. And the ability and the inclusion of Trap Clear and Stat Cleanse do honestly give her an extra edge on the field, especially for mono female teams, for anyone that is, say, using ailments or passive aggression with traps or plants. As a mixed parts, I have to rate her just a little bit lower at a 7.5 out of 10, and honestly, I could still make arguments for 8 in many cases, given that her very solid balance across the board, you really aren't missing out on a lot with mixed parts, aside from, say, Trap Clear, which is a very, a very niche skill in some cases, but still very handy all the same. But you can honestly mix her parts up very easily anywhere with Sword and Hammer, and Stat Cleanse, given that none of her parts are heavy, is very openly welcomed and can fit anywhere very easily. And Biped Legs with the Through Fight ability do honestly give your female melee nuker an extra edge on the field if your opponent is, say, using shields.